Hot Take Friday, let's go. Caitlin Clark's rookie card sells for $660K. Any of you at this point who are still doubting her impact or what she does or who she is or what her branding is, just stop it.
Some of these prices have gone absolutely insane. It's all because of one person. That person is Caitlin Clark. WNBA cards have absolutely exploded. There are currently 2 massive Caitlin Clark cards up for auction. Haven't even closed yet. And one of them sits at $195,000, while the other is at $216,000. Both have inscriptions on them.
One trading card, just a thin piece of printed cardboard, has now sold for more than what many people earn over 10 years. At a recent auction, it fetched an eye-watering $660,000 in a single winning bid. That number alone is hard to believe. But what makes this even more staggering isn't just the price tag, it's the story behind who's on the card and why it's commanding that kind of value. And trust me, the details only get more surprising from here.
The athlete on that card hasn't stepped foot on a basketball court in 2 weeks.
This isn't your typical highlight reel or headline-grabbing sports update. This is the turning point, a moment that reshaped how we understand influence in the world of athletics. Caitlin Clark didn't need to be on the court. She wasn't racking up points or breaking records that night. She was recovering from injury, seated on the bench, quietly watching the game unfold. And yet, her impact was anything but silent. From the sidelines, Clark redefined what it means to be a force in pro sports. On July 26, 2025, something happened that shook the foundation of sports economics. Every traditional model, from player valuation to market demand, was flipped on its head. What unfolded that day challenged the very metrics used to measure worth in professional athletics.
Caitlin Clark rookie trading card became the highest-selling women's sports card, fetching $660,000 at a July 2025 auction.
The sale shattered the previous record, and yes, that record was also held by another Caitlin Clark rookie card. But this isn't just about numbers or rare collectibles changing hands. This is the moment where the story pivots, and it raises serious questions about everything we've come to believe about sports marketing, athlete branding, and what really drives value in the modern sports world. Because this wasn't just another record being broken. It was a signal, a seismic one, that something much bigger is happening beneath the surface.
This trading card became the most expensive piece of women's sports memorabilia ever sold. The card that sold was a signed 2024 Panini WNBA rookie card, a one-of-one collectible that represents something far more significant than basketball statistics.
But here's the angle almost no one's covering, and it's what makes this story so much more than just another high-priced piece of memorabilia. The athlete whose name and signature are stamped on that $660,000 trading card? She hasn't stepped on a court in nearly 2 weeks. Caitlin Clark suffered a right groin strain during a game on July 15th, an injury that forced her to miss the WNBA All-Star Game, despite being the league's top vote-getter by fans. That alone is telling. So here's the question that flips the script: how does a player, sidelined with an injury, actually gain value in the eyes of fans, collectors, and marketers alike? How does an athlete become more influential without playing a single minute? The answer may surprise you, and it exposes a deep, rarely discussed truth about how influence and star power operate in modern sports. For some context, Clark isn't coasting on hype alone. Her numbers this season are elite by any measure: 16, 5 points, 8 assists, and 0 rebounds per game. On paper, she's already delivering top-tier performance. But what's happening off the court is even more unprecedented.
It's in all over her. Clark eyes up. Bounces to Boston. Boston one-on-one with Jones will flip it in.
But here's what takes this story from surprising to truly extraordinary, and maybe even unprecedented. Caitlin Clark hasn't just missed a game. She's been off the floor more than she's been on it lately, navigating a string of injuries that have limited her time in action during a critical stretch of the season. On July 17th, she made it official. Through a post on the Indiana Fever's social media, Clark announced she'd be skipping both the 2025 WNBA three-point contest and the All-Star Game. Her reason was simple but serious: her body needed rest, and the right groin injury wasn't something she could push through. So here's the reality: the league's biggest star, its most popular player, the top fan vote getter for the All-Star roster, sidelined. Watching, not playing. Supporting from the bench instead of leading from the floor. And yet, her value, in public perception, in marketing impact, and in actual dollar signs, hasn't dipped. If anything, it soared. That defies everything we thought we knew about performance, presence, and power in professional sports.
What me about this injury is that her quad injury jumped to her groin, likely because of compensation.
And yet, while she sits on the bench, sidelined by injury, unable to do the very thing that made her a household name, Caitlin Clark's market value has erupted to a level no one could have predicted just a few months ago. How can that be? How does an athlete gain more value when they're not even playing? The answer isn't just surprising, it's a wake-up call. This isn't about a trading card anymore. This is about what that card represents, a shift in how influence, value, and visibility work in today's sports world. We're watching something historic unfold, the rise of what you could call the first post-performance athlete. Someone whose relevance, reach, and cultural impact extend far beyond the physical limits of competition. Let that sink in. Fans, collectors, and high-level investors just dropped over $660,000 on a piece of memorabilia for a player who hasn't suited up in weeks. That's not just excitement, that's a market redefining itself in real time. But here's where it gets even more revealing. That card? It's not just a rare collectible. It symbolizes the moment women's sports went from being a side story to becoming a legitimate, high-stakes investment space, one with the potential to rival the biggest names in traditional men's leagues. And here's a stat that puts it all into perspective. The final bid for that one trading card was nearly double Caitlin Clark's entire WNBA salary. Not per game. Not per season. Her entire contract. One piece of cardboard is worth more than the league itself is willing to pay its brightest star. That's not just a market inefficiency, that's a giant flashing warning sign. A system under pressure. A message from the public, and the money, that says, the model is outdated, and we're not waiting for it to catch up. But the most astonishing part? It's not even about the money. It's about why this is happening, and it's leaving traditional sports executives scrambling behind closed doors. Because while the industry was busy calculating shooting percentages and debating all-star lineups, something far more powerful was taking shape. Clark wasn't just building a stat sheet, she was becoming a cultural force. A symbol. A brand. A movement. And the people paying attention, the ones who shape markets, not just follow them, they saw it first. They saw an athlete shatter expectations, not just records. By the numbers, she's still elite. Clark now holds the WNBA record for the most games in league history with at least 25 points and 10 assists, 6 such performances. But even those stats are just part of the story. The real headline? She's changing what it means to be valuable in sports today.
First time for a rookie to get a triple-double in franchise history.
Stats can be impressive, and Caitlin Clark's numbers certainly are, but records alone don't explain what's really unfolding here. This is about something far bigger than the box score. Clark has crossed a threshold that few athletes, male or female, ever reach. She's achieved the kind of cultural resonance that hasn't been seen in women's sports since Serena Williams dominated the global stage. And even then, what Clark is doing feels like a new kind of phenomenon. Because this isn't just about performance. It's about presence. About visibility. About meaning beyond the game. The trading card market, often ahead of the curve when it comes to spotting long-term value, has spoken loud and clear. A $660,000 sale isn't just about rarity. It's about belief. Investors and collectors aren't just buying a piece of cardboard, they're buying a narrative. A future. They're betting that 5, 10, even 15 years from now, Caitlin Clark's name will stand alongside icons like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Tiger Woods. That she'll be more than just a player, she'll be a permanent figure in the cultural fabric of sports history. And here's the part that truly breaks the mold. This sale, this cultural moment, this unprecedented valuation, it all happened while she's injured. While she's watching from the sidelines. While there are still questions about when she'll return. That defies every expectation of how athletic value is supposed to work. And it's forcing an industry, and a culture, to reconsider everything it thought it understood about influence, legacy, and what it really means to be a star. The team has confirmed that no new injuries or complications were found after thorough evaluations. Caitlin Clark will continue her recovery and rehabilitation under the care of the Fever's medical staff, with a clear focus on her long-term health and overall well-being. However, there is still no official timeline for when she might return to play. Pause and consider that for a moment. The most valuable player in women's basketball currently has no scheduled return date. In the midst of this uncertainty, her memorabilia just smashed her previous sales record by a staggering margin. This outcome defies everything conventional wisdom about sports marketing. Usually, when an athlete gets injured and misses games, their market value takes a hit. Fan engagement drops. Media attention wanes. Endorsement opportunities diminish. But Caitlin Clark is rewriting that script entirely. Her case points to a phenomenon that transcends raw basketball talent or on-court performance. It's about cultural influence on a whole new level. Let's unpack what this $660,000 sale truly represents in the context of Clark's groundbreaking impact on professional basketball. She made history by becoming the first player in both WNBA and NBA records to post a stat line of 25 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, 5 steals, and 5 blocks in a single game. And to put that in perspective, she just notched her 19th career game with double-digit assists, a testament to her extraordinary versatility and vision on the court. These aren't just impressive numbers, they're revolutionary, challenging what we thought was even possible in basketball. But there's a side of the story the mainstream media often overlooks, the achievements that make Clark's journey far greater than just breaking records or selling expensive cards. She's the first player in WNBA history to earn both Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month honors in the same calendar month. She's also the first in league history to record a game with over 20 points, 15 assists, and 5 rebounds. Clark isn't just setting records, she's defining new benchmarks for excellence and achievement in the sport. And collectors? They're treating her memorabilia not simply as collectibles, but as smart investments, almost like buying stock in a tech giant poised for explosive growth. Why is that? Because they recognize something that traditional sports analysts are missing. Caitlin Clark's value lies not just in stats or highlights, but in her unparalleled cultural resonance and long-term potential to shape the future of professional basketball.
And that is the 19th assist for Caitlin.
This isn't an isolated event, it's part of a much larger trend signaling a groundbreaking moment in women's sports history. Caitlin Clark's July performance alone is historic. She's averaged 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists per game this month. If she keeps this pace, Clark will become the first player in WNBA history to record a month with at least 20 points and 10 assists per game, a milestone that's never been reached before. But these impressive numbers are only one piece of the puzzle. Clark symbolizes something far more significant, the emergence of a new generation of female athletes who are commanding the same level of respect, media attention, and financial investment traditionally reserved for their male peers. This moment reflects a powerful shift in how women's sports are valued culturally and commercially, and Clark is at the forefront of that transformation.
I have to further explain what dominance means for you to not sit here and say that a player who is leading the league in assists while averaging 19 to 20 points didn't dominate that season.
Caitlin Clark isn't just rewriting the record books on the hardwood. She's tearing down barriers in boardrooms, reshaping media deals, and changing the perceptions of fans who previously paid little attention to women's basketball. Now, here's the most striking twist in this story. Clark recently announced she'd have to sit out key events due to a left groin injury. In her own words, she expressed deep disappointment, saying, "I am incredibly sad and disappointed to say I can't participate in the three-point contest or the All-Star game." That statement highlights the personal cost behind the headlines, the physical toll on a player who's rapidly becoming much more than just an athlete.
Incredibly sad and disappointed to say I can't participate in the three-point contest or the All-Star game. I have to rest my body.
Disappointment was real. The impact on her team was unmistakable. The missed opportunities weighed heavily on everyone involved. Yet, despite all of this, Caitlin Clark's market value kept climbing. During this injury-plagued stretch, while she was physically unable to do the very thing that made her a star, her trading card smashed records, becoming the most expensive women's sports card ever sold. What we're witnessing here isn't the peak of Clark's influence, it's only the beginning. Think about this, if her rookie cards are fetching $660,000 while she's sidelined, not even playing, what will happen when she returns fully healthy? What happens when she completes a full season, dominates on the court, and starts winning championships? After overcoming some early hurdles, Clark has firmly established herself as one of the WNBA's most dynamic scorers and playmakers. She's averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, leading the league in assists, ranking 7th in scoring, and 19th in rebounds. Clark has rewritten franchise records for most double-doubles and three-pointers in a single season, but those are just team milestones. What she's truly doing is reshaping the entire business of women's professional sports. She didn't just break a trading card record, she shattered a glass ceiling. She broke barriers and demolished outdated ideas about what female athletes can achieve in market value, cultural influence, and investment potential. That $660,000 sale is proof that the revolution in women's sports is already underway. It shows that fans, collectors, and investors are ready to put serious money behind female athletes and their brands. It proves that the future of sports isn't just male-dominated leagues fighting for attention anymore. The future includes women commanding equal respect, investment, and cultural significance across the entire sports world. As this incredible story draws to a close, remember something that might seem impossible, but absolutely isn't. Clark made history while injured, while watching from the sidelines, while unable to contribute on the court. She didn't just break her own record, she set a new standard for women's sports memorabilia and cultural influence. This is transcendent impact, the kind that only comes once in a generation. Whether she plays another game, wins championships, or breaks more records, she's already changed the game forever. And if this is what she's accomplished while injured, just imagine what's next when she's fully healthy. The revolution in women's sports isn't coming, it's here now. And Caitlin Clark is holding the crown. What do you think? Is Caitlin Clark rewriting the rules of sports history? Share your thoughts in the comments below.